officiating their wedding. It truly does mean the world to me to be a part of this. Hopefully you did your research and you knew what you signed up for, because it's too late to back out now. And I do need to apologize to everybody if I'm a little nervous here. Like I said, I've only done this once before and I was completely hammered, so I don't know. According to those in attendance and those police reports, I was pretty good. I'm feeling optimistic. And through a good amount of trial and error, I think I've found the perfect ratio of caffeine, whiskey, and sleep deprivation to make this all work out. So thank you all for coming, dearly beloved. Many of you had to travel quite a ways to be here with us in this beautiful Lake Tahoe, where it's always sunny and warm, never cold and windy, except for like 1 or 2 days out of the year. What are the odds that we're going to run into that? But weather notwithstanding, this is truly amazing. I couldn't imagine a more beautifully perfect setting to join these beautifully perfect people. And I blew it on the cheesy fries. So, be that as it may, I know I speak for the bride and groom when I tell you how much they appreciate you being here today in this incredible celebration of unconditional love, unbridled joy, and what I'm really hoping is an open bar. And I was promised free cake. So, we'll also be binding these two people together for the rest of eternity, not unlike a certain powerful wizard I don't need to mention again. So, for those of you that don't know me, and you really should, I'm awesome. My name's Brandon. I'm the older brother of the bride. And no, despite what it might seem, I do not do this professionally. The tight-knit world of wedding officiating is surprisingly difficult to break into. And I'm in it for the love, not the money. Although, making the check out the cash. But despite my amateur status, I will do my very best to keep you at least moderately entertained, while helping these two people I love and care about more than any speech can convey pledge their undying love for each other. And stave off hypothermia. Here in what I can only assume is a magical love forest in the middle of nowhere. But I digress. Taryn is my younger sister, and I'd love to sit here and tell you that I was always 100% supportive of all the choices she made, but that's not the truth. Like any worthwhile brother, I've always been super protective. Some might call it overprotective, for which I'd argue that she's gone her entire life and never been kidnapped or murdered, so I think my word speaks for itself. I remember when she was going to her senior prom, and she came downstairs wearing what I can only describe as a washcloth. And I lobbied for her father to force her into something a little more appropriate, like a trench coat. But I failed in that, probably with good reason. But I don't think you ever lose that protective nature. I tried my best to be as poor a representation of the male gender as possible to dissuade my sisters from ever dating. I took up smoking, I wore baggy jeans halfway down my backside, sat around playing video games all day, but apparently that wasn't enough. She still saw fit to try and find redeeming value in the male species. I've had to suffer the laughter and the tears, the heartbreak of relationships that didn't work out, and the resulting rebounds. And the phones that go off. But eventually I knew the inevitable would happen, that she would someday meet a great guy, get married, and after many, many years of happy marriage, might finally kiss a boy for the very first time. This is what I choose to believe, and you're going to convince me. So when my baby sister finally told me she found another serious boyfriend after so many heartbreaks, my first brotherly instinct was to find the guy and intimidate him into leaving her alone. Then she told me it was Tyler, and I thought, oh wow, I guess I have to support this, because he's like twice my size. But despite my apprehension, I always knew that if she had to marry somebody, Tyler was by far the best choice, and honestly, I would have chosen him for myself. As far back as I remember Taryn having friends, I remember Tyler. He's been there for her even when I couldn't be. He supported her through boyfriends and breakups and prom desks and He's been by her side through her triumphs and her heartbreaks. He cheered on and feigned genuine interest in her boring soccer games. He was there to support her, until he's both thinking of cancer. He's the only person I know outside of our immediate family who's been to every single Relay for Life event and stayed through the entire night every time. Where most of us were exhausted and grumpy by the time the sun came up, Tyler was still smiling and spreading his incessant positivity at a time when everybody needed it the most. In other words, before they were even a couple, Tyler had stuck by Taryn through good times and bad. And he's been by her side through sickness and health. And I have no doubt he'll remain until death does them part. So, in the end, it's Taryn and Tyler. I mean, who would have guessed this would happen except for everybody who's ever met him?